developments are shaking the global balance of power tonight, and what you're about to hear could redefine the future of the Russia-China alliance. A relationship once described as unbreakable is now showing dangerous cracks, and the timing could not be more critical. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Impact Report. Please subscribe to the channel for deep analysis, real geopolitics, and the stories shaping our world. For months, Russia has relied heavily on China as a silent but indispensable partner. While Beijing publicly claimed neutrality, behind the scenes it played a calculated role, keeping Moscow's military machine alive through indirect supplies, dual-use equipment, and logistical support. That lifeline, according to multiple intelligence and diplomatic sources, has now been abruptly cut. President Xi Jinping has reportedly ordered a halt to military-related shipments to Russia, sending shockwaves through the Kremlin and triggering panic within Russia's defense establishment. Externally, the geopolitical landscape has shifted overnight. Western capitals are scrambling to assess the implications, Asian allies are recalibrating their strategies, and Moscow is facing a reality it hoped to avoid: strategic isolation. China's move is not symbolic, it is operational material, and deeply strategic. By cutting off critical military components and logistics channels, Beijing has effectively pulled the rug out from under Russia at a moment when its war effort is already under severe strain. Internally, the consequences for Russia are severe and immediate. The Russian military-industrial complex has been struggling under sanctions, production bottlenecks, and manpower shortages. Chinese components filled vital gaps: electronics, optics, machine tools, drone parts, and transport systems. With that support gone, Russian factories face shutdowns, delayed production cycles, and declining battlefield readiness. Defense insiders describe the mood as tense, uncertain, and increasingly desperate. Performance on the battlefield is where this decision hits hardest. Russian forces have depended on steady resupply to maintain offensive pressure and defensive lines. Without Chinese logistical backing, ammunition shortages worsen, vehicle maintenance becomes unreliable, and advanced systems face downtime due to lack of spare parts. Analysts warn that Russia's ability to sustain high-intensity operations will degrade rapidly, forcing tactical retreats and defensive postures across multiple fronts. The safety dimension of this shift extends beyond Russia's borders. A weakened Russia raises risks of escalation, miscalculation, and destabilizing actions. As Moscow loses conventional strength, concerns grow that it may lean more heavily on asymmetric tactics, cyber operations, or energy coercion. For Europe and NATO, this creates a paradox: a reduced military threat paired with a higher risk of unpredictable behavior. China's unique selling point in this geopolitical maneuver lies in its timing and ambiguity. Xi Jinping has not publicly condemned Russia, nor has Beijing officially announced a policy reversal. Instead, China has chosen strategic silence paired with decisive action. This allows Beijing to distance itself from Russia's war without appearing to align with the West. It preserves China's global economic interests, protects its access to Western markets, and positions Beijing as a power broker rather than a co-belligerent. From China's perspective, the price of continued support for Russia has grown too high. Secondary sanctions, trade disruptions, and reputational damage threaten China's long-term ambitions. By cutting military supplies now, Xi sends a clear message to Washington and Brussels while reminding Moscow that China's support is conditional, transactional, and reversible. This move reinforces Beijing's core doctrine: national interest above ideological loyalty. For Vladimir Putin, the price of this decision is staggering. Russia loses not only material support but diplomatic leverage. The narrative of a united Eastern Bloc collapses. Smaller states watching the conflict now see Russia as increasingly isolated and weakened. This could accelerate defections, reduce arms sales, and diminish Moscow's influence across Africa, the Middle East, and Central Asia. The conclusion of this unfolding crisis is unavoidable. China has not just paused shipments, it has altered the strategic equation. Russia now faces a future where it must fight, negotiate, or retreat without its most powerful partner. Xi Jinping has demonstrated that alliances in the modern world are fluid, conditional, and ruthlessly pragmatic. This is not the end of China-Russia relations, but it is the end of the illusion that their partnership was unbreakable. What happens next will define the next phase of global geopolitics. Will Russia adapt or escalate? Will China step fully into the role of mediator, or remain a silent architect shaping outcomes from behind the curtain? One thing is certain, the era of unquestioned China-Russia alignment is over, and the world is entering a far more unstable and unpredictable phase. Stay with the Impact Report as we continue to track this historic shift and bring you the truth behind the headlines.